The dulcet tones of one of their landladies rang out loud and clear. "Wake up, you two! Me and sister have a rescue mission on this morning, and we need all paws on deck." Tilly skipped to the door and pulled it open to see Betty and Beryl Butter standing in the back hall in matching galoshes, swathed in plastic macks over their winter coats. The two white cats were waving saucepans about in a rather warlike manner. "No time to waste," said Betty. "Get yourselves dressed for snow shovelling. Poor old Bruiser will be stuck in his shed, and we need to get him out of there before the next load of snow comes. It's too cold for him in that garden, and his door opens outwards, so he'll be trapped in there and freezing to death." Bruiser was an old friend of Hettie's, and an integral part of the No. 2 Feline Detective Agency, as he drove Miss Scarlet, their motorbike and sidecar. He had been a wandering cat, but now, in his older years, he had settled in a purpose-built shed at the bottom of the Butter sisters' garden, lending a paw to any odd jobs they needed doing, and acting as backup muscle to Hettie and Tilly's investigations. At the thought of Bruiser being in any sort of danger, Hettie sprang from her armchair, and she and Tilly set about the bottom drawer of their filing cabinet, which they used as a wardrobe. Dragging a hodgepodge of multicoloured thick socks and jumpers out, they pulled the clothes on over their pyjamas, finishing the outlandish look off with a pair of Wellingtons each, purchased from Tilly's friend Jessie's charity shop earlier in the week. They joined the Butters, and the four cats discussed their campaign to free Bruiser from his snowbound shed. "The first thing we'll have to do is get out the back door," said Beryl, giving the handle an aggressive tug. The door gave way, but the snowdrift that had gathered outside fell into the hallway in a miniature avalanche. Betty received the brunt of it, and her sizable form collapsed in a shower of snow and ice. It took every ounce of strength that Hettie, Tilly, and Beryl had to haul the cat to her feet. Then they ladled the snow back into the yard with 4 of Betty's best non-stick saucepans. "Well, you can see what sort of a job we've got on here," said Beryl. "Times like this, I wish we had a shorter garden, sister. It's going to take some time to dig our way to Bruiser's shed." Hettie agreed, but felt that breakfast would help to keep their spirits up. "Maybe we'd get on quicker if we had a hot drink and something to eat," she suggested. Betty looked from Hettie to Tilly, realising that they'd been dragged from their beds without so much as a cup of tea. "I'll tell you what. You two and sister make a start on the shovelling, and I'll fix us all a nice hot breakfast," she said. "We're not opening the bakery up today, as no one can get through to us. We've got plenty of baps from yesterday, so I'll fill them with a nice bit of bacon. And how about mugs of hot chocolate all round, like they have in those Swiss chalets on the TV?" Hettie's heart leapt at the thought of a hot breakfast, and she led the party out of the back door, ladling as she went, and followed by Beryl and eventually Tilly, who benefited from letting the others go in front of her. The snow was very deep, and the drifts were high above Hettie's head, and, to make matters worse, it was freezing. There was nothing familiar about the backyard, just giant ice sculptures where the coal stack and dustbins normally stood, buried now in several feet of snow and ice. The mittens that the 3 cats wore were soon frozen to their paws. They made progress, but had barely reached the fence that separated the yard from the garden, when the wind picked up with a deafening whistle, blowing much of the snow they'd cleared back onto the path. It was to great relief that Betty's voice was heard above the noise, signalling that hot food and drink was waiting for them. Hettie, Beryl, and Tilly slid back into the bakery, where Betty had set up a temporary breakfast bar next to the warmth of the bread ovens. As promised, there were bacon baps and hot chocolate, but Betty had added a tray of flapjacks.